stock, Cosmo First. That's the stock on our radar today. Now, Kotak put out a note today where they spoke about how the spreads or the prices of BOPP film has increased by 10% on a month-on-month basis. This is potentially good for stock like SRF, but of course, Cosmo First is also in the packaging segment. They also say the raw material polypropylene prices, they've also risen in recent months. We've been talking about crude prices rising as well. So let's try and understand the impact of all this. Pankaj Poddar, the CEO of Cosmo First, is joining us now. Mr. Poddar, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. Well, the last time we were speaking, we spoke about how the supply-demand scenario in the films business is not matching so much. Considering the Kotak note today, can you give us a sense of whether there has been a price rise in BOPP and BOPET? I know you're not so much in BOPP, but just a sense of pricing.
Yeah, hi. Cosmo is largely a BOPP film producer and seller. And yes, BOPP, the demand supply is fairly balanced. And, obviously, as the demand continues to go up, whatever little oversupply was there is getting covered. And then even the exports have started picking up because of demand coming up from most parts of the world. And as you rightly pointed out, yes, the prices for BOPP have started correcting, have gone up. Though obviously there's still, a significant potential for them to go up further.
Okay, sorry, I meant to say that you're largely into BOPP and not BOPET so much. But when you're talking about prices going up, how much have they risen by, and is it seen in spreads as well?
Yeah. So the spreads have actually gone up. Yes, you're right. Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Poddar. So, at the end of Q3, what you had mentioned was that, the domestic margins for both the BOPP as well as the BOPET had shrunk significantly due to below-cost selling by the industry. So has that phenomenon stopped? Will we see an immediate margin improvement in Q4? And what is the outlook that you have for FY25?
So these have started going up only last few days. Yes, BOPP is seeing a traction. Even BOPET, some correction has come, but it's still marginal, I would say. So as far as the BOPET is concerned, at least, earlier they were making losses, at least at a variable cost level now. They are kind of break even at a variable cost level, but still the overheads have to be covered when it comes to BOPET. When it comes to BOPP, I would say that they are coming more towards EBITDA break even when we talk about commodity business. But this is only a recent phenomena. And as I said, there's still a very significant potential for these to go further in the coming quarters.
While you're talking about a price rise, we've seen crude prices rising as well. Polypropylene prices have gone up. So when you say spreads have gone up, is it commensurate to the price rise, or is there a lower spread that you're getting?
No, the spread has started to improve. Polypropylene, I would say...
By how much would that be?
By roughly 10%, as you're showing on the screen. So they have gone up by roughly 10%.
Okay. But you were making a point. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so what I was saying is, as far as Cosmo is concerned, our focus is largely on specialty when it comes to BOPP and BOPET both. And even on BOPET, we continue to pick up on our specialty sales, which is our recent business where we are more into shrink labels and we are about to launch window films. And then we have some other specialties when it comes to polyester. And so both are showing an improvement. Polyester, we still see the supply side to be more than demand, but there also we see a demand going up, and therefore, to some extent, we have started seeing that prices are getting better. BOPET, obviously, because oversupply is there, so we see not such a, I would say, as far as Cosmo is concerned, it will go more because of specialty than the market pricing as such. But our main exposure is to BOPP, where the pricing is up and our specialty sales is also going up.
That's good to hear. At the end of Q3, one thing that you did mention to analysts was the fact that there was substantial capacity addition that had happened in the industry, due to which, you had, number one, mentioned that the margin outlook for both the segments was something that was still remaining quite challenging. So now with prices going up, we expect that to inch higher. Now, along with that, you also had mentioned that there is a chance that deferred capacity could happen in terms of some players, deferring their expansion plans. So what is the on-ground trends, and do you have any expansion plans? What is the capacity utilization rate currently?
So when it comes to BOPP, the demand and supply is largely balanced. Obviously, there is some domestic demand growth, and then there are exports also, which has gone up from most of the players from India. And that is resulting in this kind of supply demand matching up. When it comes to BOPET, there also we have seen the same trend where domestic demand is going up and there are more exports from the country. But we still see roughly, I would say, 10% mismatch between demand and supply as far as the BOPET is concerned. BOPET, there is not too much of capacity which is going to come up in the next 2 to 3 year period. There are still a couple of lines which are expected to come up. Some of them have already been deferred. They were supposed to be there last year or beginning of this year. But we are seeing that some better rationale is prevailing where some of the players are intentionally deferring up their capacities. When it comes to BOPP, given that it is largely balanced, there are 2, 3 lines expected to come up next year. One of them is Cosmo. And we do expect that during this period, the demand will continue to go up and there'll be room for these 2 or 3 lines to come up next year.
I think the demand was never a problem. It's just the oversupply which was impacting the prices as well. It's just come up from the super high levels that we saw during COVID. Mr. Poddar, you do have the other business, that's the pet care business, and that is something that that has seen improvement. So give us a sense of what the GMV has been. It increased to 4 crores versus 3.5 crores earlier. And what is the outlook going forward? 75 to 100 crore revenues. Is it possible in FY24 or that is the target for FY25?
Now, FY25, the GMV, as we said last call, that we've reached 4 crores. We do expect that by the end of next year, they should be hovering around 5.5, 6 crores. Right now, we continue to make sure that, we work on the fundamentals step by step, make sure that our category is very strong, our retails are very strong. We are continuously focusing more on the vet services, which we feel is again very critical from this industry perspective. So we are focusing more initially to begin with more on the fundamentals, making sure that we really provide an excellent ecosystem to the customer. And once we have done all of this really well, then is the time that we will start saying that let's try to double, triple the sales every year. But even otherwise, we within last 2 years, we have reached to this level and we will continue to grow quarter on quarter, which is very clearly visible.
That's good to hear. Give us a sense of how is export demand shaping up. Has there been any resolution as far as the Red Sea issues are concerned? Have you seen an improvement in terms of exports? And has there been an increase in cost on account of all of the worries over there?
So yes, the cost had gone up because of Red Sea. There was a couple of months when the transit times had also gone up. I think most of these things are getting corrected now. We do see some correction already in the freight cost, but they are not there where it should be. But what I personally feel is it's a matter of a month or 2 months when freight cost will get corrected. Obviously, when this issue happened, some of the export customers were worried. So what we saw was that specialty customers where they did not have a choice or they had limited choice, they were ordering more, while semi-specialty and commodity customers, they wanted to buy more locally because the transit times had gone up. But I would say most of these concerns are behind. And one of the other things which is happening very positive for the industry is that Europe was going through a lot of inflation earlier. And the same set of customers, because their income levels had not gone up, their demand had come down. Now, what we are seeing is that inflation is getting contained in these industries. And therefore, we see that customers in general have started buying back to their normal levels. And therefore, we are seeing a traction in the demand, even coming from Europe, which was, I would say, to some extent, was kind of the demands had gone down. And same trend we are seeing even in US, where the demands were relatively lower and they are getting back to normal. And once this Red Sea issue is totally behind us, then certainly we do see that even the demand will even get stronger from the current levels.
Okay. All right. Mr. Poddar, thank you so much for joining us and giving us all those details. So yes, there is some price recovery that we are seeing in the BOPP and BOPT space, but crude prices are rising as well. So we'll watch out for the margin picture. But we'll speak to you again after the Q4 numbers as well. That's the word coming in from Cosmo First. But with that, we'll move on. SMEs, they are the vital drivers of innovation and employment globally. Recognizing their crucial role within supply chains and the growing importance of sustainability, we are thrilled to announce a curated masterclass by HSBC presents CNBC CNBC TV 18 SME Champion Awards on 22nd March in Chennai. This transformative session offers SMEs insights into navigating sustainability regulations, seizing growth opportunities, capitalize on investor interest, and enhancing supply chain resilience to unlock potential and embrace a sustainable future. Don't miss this opportunity to propel your business forward and contribute to sustainable economic development. Register now and join to embrace a greener future.